Hi Stampers, welcome to the Queen Cat Design Studio today. I am going to show you how to make some dressed up sparkly flowers that are going to be perfect for your holiday crafting. You can put these on banners, you can put them on your mantle, you can do anything you want to with them. You can even hang them on your Christmas tree if you want. Okay, to start, we are going to emboss a scrap of pattern paper, probably 6x6, 8x8, something like that if you have it, or a bunch of little ones, but you're gonna use a 2-inch hole punch, or you can use a nestability. You can go bigger, you can go smaller, it depends on what look you want and where you're putting your flower. This punch is by EK Success. I got it probably at Joann's, so that's what I use to make my scalloped circles. Now I wanted to show you something before we start. I made this flower. It's just plain Jane double-sided pattern paper from Cosmo Cricket. One side has mushrooms on it and the other side, I believe, yep, it was polka dots. And I alternated how I folded them and how I layered them together to get the final look. I have not put anything on this. It's not glittery or shiny or anything. And then these are what we're going to make today. These are pretty and glittery and shiny. This one is the normal flower. When you don't want to see the center of your flower, you can leave it folded up like this. But when you're done, if you open it more, you're going to see the little brad inside. Now you can stick a rhinestone on it, or you can color your brad with Copics or Sharpies, whatever you have, or even those little half dome page bobble things work really well. And then the back is just the brad. Alright, let's get to it here. What I did was I just took a scrap of pattern paper. I embossed it with the new famous floral background from Queen Cat Designs. What I do is I use Versamark ink. This one is the Dazzle, but I find that their Dazzle inks don't add anything to watermarks or whatever. I haven't been able to get the shine or shimmer, whatever they're supposed to do, so I just use it as an embossing ink. It works the same as Versamark. It works the same as embossing ink because it's sticky and it holds your powder really well. So for me, this is the only embossing pad I have. It's just Versamark. I have their Frost, I have the Champagne, and I have the Plain. They work all the same to me. So basically I have 3 Versamark pads that add watermark. Now this is some glitter embossing powder from Ranger. I don't know if you can see it too good. This is pink and it was in a Get Ink kit this year. I used the pink on this flower and it just added a really pretty shine. And I also used the pink on this orange flower. Up close it looks pink, but from afar it's kind of silvery, shimmery. And then for the video, what we're going to use is this Stampendous Stampin' Stuff embossing powder. It is called Stardust, and it's kind of cool. It's almost a holographic look, so when you move your papers it changes colors a little bit. So that's what I've done to this paper. I've embossed it with a Stampin' Stuff Stardust and the Queen Cat Design stamp. And I've already gone ahead and punched my circles here. So I have 6 or 7 circles, and usually the minimum I like to do on a flower is 6 because of the fullness. Now if you do a smaller flower, anything smaller than 2, you might want to go with 4 to 5 circles at the most. Alright, so what we do next is lay them out. You get a can of magic starch from the dollar store. Go ahead, spray them on one side. You flip them over, and then we're going to spray the other side. And then just take them and layer them like this. And if you have double-sided pattern paper, this one's not, it's white on the back. If you have double-sided, go ahead and stamp and emboss the back if you'd like. You can even do it to the white if you want. It's up to you. And then what we do is we just make sure they're flat and take your paper piercer and pierce kind of right in the middle. Turn it over with the flowers on it like this, okay? And push it down on the piercer a little bit to make the hole bigger. So when you put your brad through it, on the other side we're taking a large headed brad and we're sticking it in there, and then go ahead and open it up on the back and push it down. Then, so you have your closed brad on your flower here. Then we're going to take the first layer. Just take your first layer and scrunch it up like that. Okay? And then we're going to take the next layer and scrunch it up. And you do that to all 6 layers, or how many ever layers you have in your flower. Scrunch it up real good. Now some people will tell you to crinkle your flower or fold it in quarters or whatever. I just find it's easier to do this once you wet your flower and you don't ruin your cardstock too much by handling it too much. And also when you're embossing like we did on this flower, you are not losing a lot of embossing, because you know how sometimes if you emboss something and then you cut it, the embossing cracks and falls off. Well, we're not going to get that effect with this as much. Of course some of it's going to fall off because you're scrunching it and playing with it, but alright, so now this is your flower. Kind of ugly, huh? And it's just all folded up and wadded into a ball. And then what I like to do is kind of spray some starch and let it foam up on your mat and dip the flower into it. Alright, and don't worry about making a mess. You're going to get inky and dirty and nasty, and it all cleans up, guys. Believe me, it all cleans up. Okay, now with your fingers, your fingertips, your fingernails, whatever you ladies got going on here, we are going to start separating the layers and forming the petals. So if you don't want any of the white showing, turn your petals so it doesn't show. But me, I like it because it adds depth to the flower. So I'm not going to open it too much because I don't want to see the brad on this one. And there we have it, a nice glittery flower. And you can heat set this if you're in a real hurry. You can heat set it. It's going to take a while. Make sure you rotate your embossing gun so you don't burn your embossing or your paper or your fingers. Or if you've got time, let it sit overnight. It will be hard and stiff and ready to go in the morning. For extra depth, you can use Distress ink with an ink applicator and swipe across the edges, and it will give you more dimension on your petals. Alright guys, I hope you have a great day. Happy stamping!